So back on the 350Z today, we are fitting some new bits and bobs, getting it basically ready to take to a skid day. Oh, tripped over. What we're going to put on today, we've got a box here, bolt on hydro mount, eccentric lockout bolts for the back, some adjustable arms for the back. Now, I don't usually use these are the cheapest of cheap, but I thought for the budget build, we'll try what is the cheapest arms you can buy and see if they break. So we've got rear traction arms, rear lower camber arms. We have also got some tow arms coming, but they haven't arrived yet. So we've got those to go on. Those are from Max Speeding Rods, and then again those are just extra eccentric bolts for the tow arms. We've got some replacement rose joints because another one of the rose joints on the front knuckle adapters is worn out, and then those are just spare tie rod adapters that I've got. That is the hydro bracket, so that's GK Tech reverse pull hydro bracket. In there is the handle for the hydro. So we're going to get all those bits bolted on. So we'll have a hydro, working hydro in it. We've got snap off boss and an adapter for the hub, so we can get a steering wheel in it. Over here we've got the diff. It's ready to go in. This is one that I previously welded. I took out of another car last night. That is ready to go into this one. Then we can align it today, and then it's ready for a skid, isn't it? So first thing we're going to do is get the shifter off. And you slowly unwind it. Pull this off. Got some weird glue holding the gear gator down. Be careful with this band, because the annoying thing with 350Z heater controls, if you get a problem with this band, it just turns all the heating on full the entire time. So be careful not to damage that band. Pull that off, and then basically you've got to get the center console loose so as you can get the bracket underneath. Undo these 4 bolts, and then your bolt on bracket adapter goes on there, which sits out here, and then the hydro bolts on there. Easy peasy. So as you can see, it's obviously not bolted in yet, but that replaces the stock gator mount that's in there. That sits in there, and then we'll get our GK Tech hydro in a minute, but the GK Tech hydro then bolts on here. You have a handle here, it's reverse pull, nice and tidy, everything out of the way. You can fit buckets in, have as much space as you want. Usually we make a bracket, but to be honest, for how strong these are and the cost, it's a lot easier to just buy these, because they just work, and they're only like 55 quid, 56 quid. So yeah, let's get this unbolted and get that in. I hate working in gloves. So we'll put all this in loosely for now, and then once it's in the car we can tighten everything up. We've already put the cylinder in the car because we did the brake lines last weekend. Oh, everything's really cold. We've undone the screws. You've got 2 at the front, 1 in the middle underneath the ashtray, and then 1 on either side there. Then you can pop this up underneath, then unplug everything. This harness plug can be quite stiff to get off if it hasn't been off before. There we go. A couple of plugs at the back. 1 around the pins. 2, and your centre console is out. What you want to do if you're going to use one for drifting, you need to unplug this, because that is the airbag module, and if you have a crash which is likely drifting, you don't want all the airbags to go off. So switch battery off, leave it for 10 minutes, then unplug all of this, and just leave that in. You can leave that in there, and just make sure it's all unplugged on these yellow plugs there. Then this one here, further forward, this is your yaw sensor. So this senses if the car is obviously sliding sideways, which if you're drifting them, you don't want that interfering. So unplug that as well, and then you're good to go. That's that spot. For me, I think for someone shorter, oh no, because someone shorter would be sitting closer. That's that spot on. Next thing we're going to do is pop this off. While the battery's off, we can pop this off. Obviously it's got airbag in it. To get the steering wheel off, you've got, oh, I went flying, be careful, they go flying. You've got 2 of these covers, one over side and underneath, that you pop off. Then you can undo these safety torques. Battery's been off for a bit, hopefully the airbag doesn't go off. Plug in that plug, and then plug in 2 plugs at the back. Now your center console, you can tuck the front down, get the back over the handbrake. Oh, that hydro is cold. Everything's so cold. We have put the hydro in, the mount's all done, that is all in there. Brakes are obviously all bled from last time, so we already had the cylinder in there. All we did was mount the cylinder to this hydro. I showed you how to do, to unplug airbag module, yaw sensors, disc to stop traction control and everything like that kicking in. Put a steering wheel in it, so that is in there on a snap off boss. Danny, that is your snap off boss, but mine hasn't turned up yet, so we used yours. So interior is kind of back together, ready to go. Now we've just put it on the ramp. Now we're going to go and fit replacement rose joint, one of the front knuckle adapters, adjustable arms for the back. We're going to put the welded diff in it, align it, tweak the suspension heights last little bit. I want to drop the back down a tiniest little bit, raise the front up a tiny little bit. Yeah, align it, do a quick oil service on it because I don't know when it was last serviced. I'd rather start with it freshly serviced now, and then we know where we're at moving forwards. And then I think other than that, it's ready for a drive. I think it's done at that point, or done for this sort of stage. It's ready for a drive, ready to test it, make sure it works, make sure it doesn't overheat, make sure it drives all right. Yeah, so we're going to get to fitting these bits now, and we'll see you on the next bit. 4 prop bolts, they're 17 mils. Then you can get all of the drive shaft bolts out, which is 6 per side, and they are 14 mils.
You rang me and you don't even know what you want.
It's 11.52. Yeah, can you just go to Tesco's? Diffs out. Obviously, the trick with these to get a diff out, it makes it so much easier if you can get the anti-roll bar out. But these studs, clean the threads up, lube them up, because these studs spin in the subframe really easily, and then it makes your life difficult. You've got a breather there, which you can get with the diff halfway down, and then you've got both speed sensors. They clip in on top of the subframe, so you have to use like a pry bar to get them out. Obviously, all the drive shaft bolts, prop bolts, and stuff like that. That's it. So your elbows are in there. OEM arms, adjustable arms. The easiest place to start is to adjust your adjustable arm to be the same length as an OEM arm, because then you're at least close when you fit it. Diffs in. What else have we done? We've removed the OEM arms. Nice bit of chicken you got there, mate. Now we're gonna grind these out. Oh, can't see where my finger. There it is. Grind these out to allow for the extra adjustment bolts. These are all set to OEM lengths for now, just as an easy starting point. Traction arm, camber arm, still waiting for the toe arms. So we're gonna put those in now. What else you gotta do? You gotta do alignment. You need to do alignment actually on your car's dangerous. I don't know about that.
It's still a little bit. Last alignment you done was into a bush.
These bolts, you can use these on. So if you've got OEM arms, these bolts have extra eccentric adjustment, but to allow for the extra eccentric adjustment, you have to grind the subframe out a little bit to allow an extra like 2 or 3 mil room both sides. So because we haven't got the toe arms yet, we're going to use these for now, and then when the adjustable toe arms come, we can fit those.
Done. We're just going to look at a car we're not going to buy. First time ever. So go waste some people's time.
Right, so we're going to look at a car that we're not going to go and buy today, so we're going to go waste some people's time.
Today we're messers.
Yeah, today we're top messers. But it is a car that we plan to buy and do like a build with, and then have some fun with it. If they're happy with us to film it, then we'll film it. If they're not, then it's a secret by default. 350Z is all done, all the parts are bolted to it and whatnot. It is ready for alignment, so it's on the alignment stand, waiting for us to get back, let the suspension settle for now, and then when we get back we'll align that, and then we can take it out for a drive, see how it works. We'll take it on our trip and then maybe film it, we might not. It's an American trip.
There's no rounds really to get food.
There's not anything between here and Battle, is there?
No, not at all.
That won't get to the video because Ray does the editing and he'll just take himself out.
So we've had an overpriced Burger King. I don't know.
The guy obviously put it in, but it was not working with a Pro Charger.
Yeah.
So he had a cam, he says brand new, let's try it out. It's very tight. I mean, it's small, yeah.
Bit of a ripper.
What do you reckon, mate? You're only really going to get a better one for the money. Yeah, I put a traction control off coming out of a junction and then spun up through first and second. And then he didn't really want me to do any more, so I stopped.
Don't do that, mate.
Yeah, he was like, oh, can you not do that? I was like, yeah, sure. I just wanted to make sure it does good.
How did it go?
Huh?
How did this get go?
Yeah, good. I mean, it would have carried on doing it if I hadn't let off. I like the linear torque where it's really controllable because you've got so much power if you want it, so much torque if you want it, and it's literally like having a modular switch where you can control exactly how much you spin the wheels. Like, they're going to spin regardless, but because the throttle's so long, you've almost instead of having on the BMWs, the throttle travel's really short, so they're really snappy on throttle input.
Yeah.
Whereas that, because it's so long, you've got so much modulation in how much you can throttle. You could control, if you were drifting it, you could control your wheel speed really easily.
Yeah.
Because your pedal throw is easily, that pedal throw is easily twice as long as the M2, easy. So I quite like that. The left-hand drive thing, obviously used to a left-hand drive, but never actually driven a manual left-hand drive.
Apart from that truck.
Oh yeah, apart from that. It's actually alright. I thought I was going to struggle with it more, but I spun the wheels and shifted up through first and second and it was fine. It didn't feel unnatural. The OEM seating position is absolutely horrific.
Well, the seats are part of the interior has to go immediately, so that's not fun.
Yeah, the OEM seat, you're sitting like this, the steering wheel's like a tugboat. I would straight away put knuckle adapters on it, put seats in it, and put a hydro in it. We went to see the car, it was only close, only half an hour away, so it's well worth going to see. And it's kind of cemented that I do want one. Whether it's that one or not, I'm sure we'll probably find out pretty shortly. We're going to go back now and align the 350Z and then we can take that for a skid. I mean, a leisurely drive on public roads.
$155, 146.5.
350Z is all aligned, I think. Yeah, it's aligned. No, it's aligned. We've set it all up. Oh, the back needs spacers again because that fitment is whack. The front's probably a little bit too much, but it looks cool. For now, it's a little bit high. Probably going to lower it after I've actually driven it, but for now, I just want to test it, make sure it actually works. So we're going to do an oil change now, and then it is ready to go for a little drive. Under here, we've put the cheapest arms on the market to see if they will break or not. Extra lockout bolts up there just to get what we can for now, but we really need the tow arms to come. We've got true coil over on it, so we need tow arms to come, then we can replace the spring bucket with an adjustable tow arm, then we can actually get rid of the camber and get the alignment exactly as we want it. Diffs changed, shafts are all back in, exhaust all back in. We've had it on the strings, it's all aligned, all set up, ready to go. Now we're just going to do an oil change and then ready to go and do a leisurely drive. When you're running a 350Z, check the oil on a regular basis because this is now, I can't even count how many times I've checked 350Z oil, and that is maybe 2 litres that was in this car. Now I've only just bought this car and I was pretty confident it was going to have no oil in it because the guy didn't seem to really check his car much. The last 350Z I had, like 3 years ago, I bought that and dropped the oil out of that. That only had 1.5 litres in it. So check your oil with 350Z regularly, this is why they always die. Carl's just checking the wheels, checking the wheel nuts. Car is all ready to go. We're going to go for a drive now and see how Mr. Steve gets on with it.
By the way, let me just say, I've got a budget on this. I don't spend any modifications past £100. So the snorkel cost me £20. This cost me £20.
Out. Steve took it for a little test drive, and obviously it rips, so that's good. I think it's all ready for a pod day. So what we've done now is basically the end of a basic setup for a 350Z. So you've got a hydro, adjustable arms on the back, true coilover, GK Tech knuckle adapters on the front, plenum spacer. The ECU is mapped, so basically if you don't map the ECU you have to fiddle around with pin 101 or put a burnout box in it so it will let you left foot brake. But anyway, to get the most power out of it possible to suit the plenum spacer and the decats and stuff like that, ECU's been mapped, should be about 300 horsepower now. It now allows left foot braking. You get full power in all the gears because from factory, first and second gear, you don't get full power in those. So now you get full power in all the gears, so it will drive a lot better. What else have we done? Fix that brake line that was broken. Yeah, now that it's all sort of done, we've done a full alignment on it, set out the suspension all round, and I think that's it really, isn't it?
Fiddle around the right lights a bit.
I've done an oil change, as you'll see in the previous clips. It only had 1.8 litres of oil in it, so that's good. So thank you, previous owner. You did a great job on that. Is that better for you, Carl?
So much better.
Anyway, it now has all the oil it needs and good quality oil, Titan 10850 in there, ready for some abuse. The only thing left to do really to be a sort of good basic setup, but it's a little bit more money, is a rad of fans and an oil cooler. Because, I mean, in this weather it's not a massive problem, but really and truthfully it does need that, especially if you're heavy on the right foot. So yeah, this is probably it now for the building as such. We're now going to take it to pod on the next video, take it for, or maybe Three Sisters, not sure yet. Take it for a test day, see how it gets on as it is, and then from there we will then kind of go to the next stage with it, where we will take rear subframe out, do the rear bushes, put the super lock lower arms on the front, put some seats in it, harness bar to kind of take it to that next level and show you the differences between what you can do for what budget, how good it will drive at each budget, and yeah, then we're going to kit it and paint it, make it look good. Right, so see you on the next video. Au revoir.